Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew.
And my name is Jeremy.
And you are listening to Culips. Welcome back to Culips, everyone. You're listening to Real Talk, which is the series where we teach you the English expressions that you need to know for real world situations. And the real world situation that we'll explore today is how to order coffee at a coffee shop. And just before we get started, I want to let you know that the best way to study with this episode is with the study guide. And inside the guide is the transcript, detailed vocabulary explanations, real life examples, a comprehension quiz, and more. You can download it from our website, culips.com, and follow along with us as you listen here today. And I'm not alone today. I'm with my co-host, Jeremy. Jeremy, hello.
Hi there.
You know, today we're going to teach all of our listeners some practical expressions they can use when ordering something to drink at a coffee shop. I'm curious, what's your go-to order at the coffee shop? What do you like to drink?
Honestly, currently, I do not drink coffee. I stopped drinking coffee a few months ago, I guess, for a number of reasons. So now I actually order tea, and I like to get chai teas, usually.
Nice.
A chai or a chai latte. But when I ordered coffee, it was usually an Americano. That was usually my go-to order. What about you, Andrew? What's your go-to order?
My go-to order is usually a latte. A latte. It's something that I can't make at home easily. So if I go to a coffee shop, I like to order a latte. And so we should explain this expression go to. It means your default order, or the one that you usually almost always order.
Yeah, the one that you do without thinking.
Exactly. And in my case, it's a latte.
The thing that you always go to when it's time to order.
Exactly. So, Jeremy, perhaps you could break down the format for this episode to our listeners.
Sure. We're going to listen to some short conversations between a customer and a barista, who is the coffee maker, at a coffee shop. After we listen to each one, we'll go back and examine it closely and break down all of the expressions we heard, and we'll also teach you some other useful vocabulary that you may need to know.
Sounds great. Okay, let's get started and listen to that first conversation. Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Could I just get a drip coffee to go?
Yeah, absolutely. Small's okay for you?
Yep, that's fine.
And do you need room for milk?
Nah, I'm good.
All right, that's $2.75.
Here you are.
Thanks. Have a good one.
So the first expression to mention from this dialogue is drip coffee. A drip coffee is usually coffee that has been brewed beforehand. Usually at the coffee shop, they start making that coffee in the morning and they keep it hot in a container all day. And also, usually this is the cheapest drink on the menu.
Yeah. Drip coffee, I think of it as just being coffee that's made in a coffee machine, just like you would find in your house, like just a bigger one. There's also hand-dripped coffee, and that's coffee that is also made in a similar way where the water is added from the top and drips down, but it's done by the barista, the coffee maker, in a kind of deliberate, circular labor intensive way, so it's more expensive.
Yeah, hand drip or pour over or hand pour, all of these terms I have heard used for this.
Exactly. And then I guess drip coffee is in opposition or compared with espresso-based coffee, right? Where you're using a different machine, an espresso machine, to add pressure, and you're making a smaller quantity of more intensely flavored coffee. So it's kind of the difference between the different types there.
Mm-hmm. So anything made in a coffee maker is technically a drip coffee. Mm-hmm. And at coffee shops, they just use big coffee makers.
Right. Mm-hmm. When I was a student, my go-to was always drip coffee because, like you said, Jeremy, it's the cheapest.
Yep.
So we heard the barista ask the customer, do you need room for milk? Do you need room for milk? Could you expand on what this means for us, Jeremy?
Well, a lot of people like adding milk to their coffee. It sort of tones down the bitterness that naturally comes with coffee. But other people don't mind that bitterness or actually like it. So baristas will usually ask you, do you need room for milk? And what they mean is, should I leave some room in the cup so that you can pour milk in? Or should I fill it all the way up with coffee?
Exactly. So do you want it filled to the very top of the cup with black coffee? Or do you want me to fill it up 90% of the way and leave some extra space so that you can add milk? In most North American coffee shops, there are like little tables or areas in the coffee shop where there's milk and cream and sugar. And after you order your coffee, you can go to one of these areas and adjust your coffee to your own taste.
Mm-hmm. Everybody has their own preference with coffee.
Yeah. In Canada, we have expressions. I don't know if you have these in the States. I think it's a Canadian thing, but we say double double or triple triple. Do you use those in America too?
I haven't heard those, but a double would be 2 espresso shots. A triple would be 3 espresso shots. But I've never heard double double, triple triple.
Double double means just a regular drip coffee, but with 2 cream containers added and 2 sugar packets added. And a triple triple is 3 creams and 3 sugars, which you're getting into non-coffee territory if you add that much cream and sugar to me.
Just drink the cream and eat the sugar and be done with it.
But some people like it. It's all right.
Yeah.
So milk is commonly put in coffee, like we heard in that conversation. Also cream, and there are milk alternatives that you can find at most coffee shops now. What are some of the ones that are popular where you live?
Actually, personally, I cannot drink milk. As we say, it doesn't agree with me. Meaning if I do drink milk, I feel very sick to my stomach and it's not very nice. My body doesn't digest it. So I always ask for some alternative milk. And when I ask, I say, do you have any non-dairy options or any non-dairy milk? And they say, oh, yes, we have almond, soy. Those 2 are most common, almond and soy. But these days, oat milk has become very popular. Cashew milk, sometimes macadamia milk, I have also heard of.
Wow.
So various nuts can be made into milk also. But my personal favorite is oat milk. Oat milk is the tastiest, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, I've had soy milk and almond milk. I've never tried oat milk, although I've seen it on the internet. So I want to try it one day.
Wow, really? It's, in my opinion, it blends with the coffee much more smoothly than other nut milks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So let's move on to the next interesting expression that we heard in this conversation, which is have a good one. Have a good one. The barista says this to the customer as the customer is leaving the coffee shop. Have a good one. And I use this all the time. It just simply means have a good day. Have a good day.
So I am from Northern California, and I went to university in Southern California. And for the last few years, I have been living in Southern California in Los Angeles. And in Los Angeles, everyone seems to say, have a good one, have a good one. But this was very strange to me because I did not grow up saying this expression. I would say have a good day or take care. Take care for me is much more natural, I guess. Feels more normal to me. But yes, have a good one. The word one here does not mean 1, 2, 3 necessarily, like a number. It's referring to a previously implied noun.
All right, I think we can move on to conversation number 2. So let's take a listen to it now. Hi, I can take your order over here.
Oh, hi. Could I get a large double shot iced vanilla latte with soy milk?
Sure. For here?
Yeah, but I brought my own cup.
Ah, perfect. Okay, anything else?
Are your muffins gluten-free?
No, but we do have some gluten-free banana bread.
Ooh, okay. I'll have a slice of that too then.
Sure. It's going to be $8, please.
Here you are.
Okay, Jeremy, you were actually telling me off air before we started recording about a funny video that you watched this morning.
Yes.
With overly complicated coffee shop orders. And
yes,
we heard a pretty complicated order in this conversation, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, I think that coffee is such a common thing that people drink, but it's also very basic. So everybody has their preference. Some people like milk. Some people need alternative milks. Some people like sweet. Some people don't like sweet. Some people like flavor added. Some people don't. So if you order coffee often enough, eventually you know your favorite coffee. So I think everybody has their order memorized. And in this one, we heard a large double shot iced vanilla latte with soy milk. And the order here is very important. Large. Every barista will ask that question if you don't tell them.
Yeah, so you hit on a really good point there, Jeremy, that there is a kind of sequence that we should follow when placing an order. So the first thing that you want to start with is the size, right? We heard a large, that was the first thing the customer said, size. After size, we can move on to the number of espresso shots. Mm-hmm. You really only need to include this if you want to have more than one. If you just want one, you can omit this information.
Yeah. If I wanted a single shot, I would just say iced vanilla latte with soy milk. I don't need to say anything. Yeah.
But this customer wanted an extra shot, so they have to say double shot or triple shot, quadruple shot. I think that would be the maximum, quadruple shot, maybe.
If you're very tired that day. Yeah, the number of shots will add more caffeine if you have more shots.
Right.
The next thing that is commonly asked is whether you want a hot drink or an iced drink. So if you don't say that in your order, the barista is required to ask you, just like with the size. So in this dialogue, I ordered a double shot iced vanilla latte. So I'm telling the barista that I don't want a hot drink. I want a drink with ice in it.
And again, I have the feeling that you only have to specify iced if you want it to be cold. But if you want a hot one, then you don't have to say this. The kind of default order is a hot coffee.
True, but in my experience, they ask you anyway because they want to make sure that you're not disappointed with your order after it comes out.
Okay.
But you're right. In general, hot coffee is the default.
And then the next element in your order is going to be the name of the coffee that you want, right? So we heard vanilla latte, but it could be cappuccino, could be
Americano. Or at Starbucks, a frappuccino.
Yeah. So many different drink names. And then the final element is anything extra that you may want to include. So soy milk, cream, honey, sugar, I don't know, any extra thing that you want to put in.
Cinnamon.
Syrups.
In this situation, a latte is a coffee with milk. So when I say a latte with soy milk, I'm saying do not use normal milk. I do not want regular milk. Please replace it with soy milk. So it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm adding soy milk to the drink. But if I said a vanilla latte with honey or a vanilla latte with cinnamon, then they would assume regular milk.
Right. Again, regular milk is kind of the default. And if you want to go away from the default, then you need to specify what you want. You could also say a large double shot iced vanilla soy latte.
Soy latte. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
You could modify it that way.
Yeah.
So moving on, the next interesting thing we heard was the customer saying, I brought my own cup. I brought my own cup. So why would a customer bring their own cup to a coffee shop?
Well, personally, I always bring my own cup because I am trying to be conscious of my carbon footprint, we could say, which is a word that means how much trash I produce. So personally, I don't like the idea of creating trash just so I can pour a cup of liquid into my body. I would rather use a cup that I have at home. I have many cups, so I usually bring my own cup and ask the barista to use that one instead of the paper or plastic cup that they would otherwise use.
Exactly. And this is becoming really trendy these days.
True.
Some coffee shops are even offering small discounts. You might be able to save 10 or 25 cents or something if you bring your own cup. And yeah, it's good for everybody. It's easier for the coffee shop people. They don't have to buy and dispose of cups, and it's good for the earth. And it's good for the consumer because they save a little bit of money too.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. And the final thing that I want to touch on here is gluten-free. This is talking about trends. There's another trend. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of gluten-free products in your neck of the woods. Jeremy, could you maybe tell us what that means?
Well, gluten is something that is normally in bread or other wheat products like cereal, usually bread, pasta as well. Somewhat recently, it has been discovered that gluten can cause a lot of problems for people, from anything from digestive problems all the way to mental problems, I have heard. So a lot of people have a gluten allergy, and other people just have negative effects from eating gluten. And as a result, a lot of gluten-free products have started to come out.
Exactly. A really good expression to know here is intolerant or intolerance. So you could say, I have a gluten intolerance, or I'm gluten intolerant. Like Jeremy, maybe you would say that you are lactose intolerant.
Yes, I do. I do say that. Mm-hmm.
Right. So lactose intolerant means that you have difficulties digesting dairy products, right, with lactose in them. And if you have a gluten intolerance, then you have difficulties digesting baked goods usually that have that gluten component of wheat inside of them. So like you said,
Yeah.
breads, muffins, all of those delicious baked goods.
Yeah. Usually they are very tasty, but for me, with gluten as well, I don't feel very good after I eat it.
Yeah. So thankfully, there are lots of gluten-free alternatives on the market these days, and they're quite easy to find. So that's what we heard in that conversation.
So that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you all for listening. We hope you learned a lot with us today.
Our website is culips.com, and if you want to get the transcript and study guide for this episode, just check out the website and you can download it.
We are also on social media, so stay up to date with Culips by following us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter.
And we'll be back soon with another brand new Culips episode. We'll talk to you all then. Bye.
Bye.